Somewhere in the middle of Leavv, Belgium, there are tunnels filled with all kinds of vintage public transport, some even dating back to the beginning of the 1900s. Join us and discover the hidden past of these historical vehicles. Because the entrance is on a busy street, we had to make a quick run for it.
Teringvies. Net voor zwervers of zoiets.
When inside the pitch black tunnel, we immediately came across the first buses. The first bus was dating back to probably the 60s. It's quite interesting to see how much the design of the buses has changed over the years. But you really notice it with the next vehicle we found. The next one were these really old trams, which dated back to the really early days of motorized transport. But why are these vehicles rotting away here? And what is this tunnel in the first place? To answer that question, we have to go back to the beginning of the 1980s. Leavv is since the 1800s one of the epicenters of the Industrial Revolution, and the city really thrived around this time. But at the beginning of the 1970s, this all collapsed. This resulted that Leavv needed to invest into different sources to keep the city profitable. So to revitalize the city, the government of Belgium decided to build a state-of-the-art fully electric and automated metro system, which connected all of the neighborhoods of the city to each other. In total, it was intended to be 10 kilometers long. This sounds like a good plan, but unfortunately the construction of such a huge system was really expensive, and it meant that major intersections were closed for a long period of time, so people began to protest against the system. Just a year later, the project was cancelled completely, which resulted on this unfinished tunnel we are standing in right now. To make the already constructed part of the tunnel not completely useless, the city decided to repurpose the tunnel as storage for its retired public transport. But enough history, let's keep exploring. Our final target was to reach the end of this over 2.5 kilometers long tunnel, but we were interrupted by a rather sketchy discovery. This pile of rubbish looked like it was not long ago inhabited by someone. Luckily the guy wasn't home. After countless of other buses, we reached the end of the tunnel, so we decided to head out to the exit. You may wonder why we are so open about this location. Well, this is due that all of the buses were moved out on January 2020. But the future looks very bright for the buses. This is because the Transport Museum of Leavv bought all of the historic vehicles. These buses will be restored for the future generations to be enjoyed.